Hey everyone, Mac is back. Today we're going to talk about that new dragon skill that came out in this past event. It's gone now, the event is gone, but I just wanted to talk about it briefly for those that were thinking about getting it or had maybe close to it. So I took a little screenshot of it to just take a look at it. So the first thing to notice is the total attack you can get is 12%. So that's always something you'll look at for the first stat of it when it's at max. And so obviously it's called the Dragon FollowUp skill, just for anyone who wants to know. And then the troop attack is 12% and when it's maxed out. So that's really nice. That's the one that you always that you want in here is when they have a total defense. It's not you're hoping that these other stats are much better. And then of course the army attack gets plus 12% in rallies and then sending reinforcements. So if you have 3 people max with this skill, then you're going to get the 36 total attack, total attack on there as well. But the follow-up skill, which is the one that we were really kind of hoping for, is it says during battle, every time your commander uses their active army skill, there will be a 20% chance to trigger a follow-up attack by the dragon with a damage coefficient of 180% to the commander's target once, and the follow-up damage when rallying cannot stack more than 500%. So when you have this maxed out, basically this means is that every time a commander, so you're going to have 5 commanders that'll be active fighting, hopefully, and those 5 commanders will have a 20% chance. So if there's 5 of them, and there's a 20% chance that one of those commanders is going to hit. So if there's 5 of them, one of the commanders is going to hit of those 5 on average, because that's 20%. 20% of those 5 is 1. So one of those times. So I'll say all 5 of your commanders are going to hit at the same time. Then one of them is going to have a chance to trigger a follow-up attack by the dragon with a damage coefficient of 180% of the commander's target. So let me show you what that means. So what I wanted to show you here is that, so it's telling you that every time your commander uses their active army skill, so their active army skill is going to be that 200% damage, extra damage are going to be, that's their active army skill. And there will be a 20% chance to trigger a follow-up attack by that dragon with a damage coefficient of 180% to that commander's target. So their target is, whatever their target's going to be. This right here, they are dealing 200% of troops attack to the enemy. So if there's a follow-up to that, that 20% hits, and let's say it is say it is Hector that's hitting with that, then he's going to do an extra 180%. So instead of him doing the 200%, well, he'll do the 200%, but he'll also add on to that another 180. Of course, that's maxed out. So another 180%. So he'll be doing 380% to whatever his target may be at that point. So this is a really good skill, because every time that it's it's going to trigger every time in battle with one of your commanders whenever they all hit, they all go off. So if you're doing that, say 5 times, you're going to take that coefficient of 180% times 5, or you're going to be doing that and it cannot can't stack more than 500%. But if you have that again 500%, and it's going to do that 5 times in battle, that's a pretty nice little piece of damage. From the reports that I've seen, clearly 200% when you're doing that. Actually, let's go take a look at a report. Okay, so I just pulled up this report, and you can see here I just brought it up in kind of the middle of the battle. Well, not middle, the first 7-8 seconds of the battle. You can see that Lyanna, Enzo, then there's Meryl and Rob and Jean. So you can see all of those commanders right here. They're doing their damage. Actually, some are allies and some are enemies. But let's just go with let's go with the enemies to stay with the enemy here. So the enemy does, that's our army active skill right here, which is doing that extra damage. So you're doing 24,670. The ally has lost that many infantry. So that is actually 200%. Well, I say 200%. It could be 200%, depending on where Lyanna is. So if Lyanna is, if she's awakened, then she could be up to 260%. So that really just depends. But for this example, we're going to say that's 200%. So if you have 200% of the is 240. So now you just take it's going to be 180%. So it's going to be less than this. It's going to be about right around like 20,000 or so, which is actually a nice little bump. So I mean, if you're getting 20,000 here, and then we scroll down further to see if depending on how many times they hit too. I mean, this is probably not the best report I actually went into. So there's another one here where it went off, and so we actually only hit twice. It looks like maybe, yeah, out of the 40 seconds. Yeah, so it only hit, well, they're actually down there at the end. So hit 3 times. So 3 times. So if it's 20,000 and you hit 3 times, that's 60,000. And it also it depends on how many troops they're fighting with you. So it actually it may decrease a little bit because since it's a percentage. So once you get down a little further in the battle, it's more those first ones are going to hit and are going to do probably a little bit more damage. Because you see here the next this skill only did 7,000 damage. So the next 180% is going to be like it's 5,000 or 6,000, so it's not going to be that much. So it's the very first time that hits. So maybe it's not as good a skill as you think. Maybe if you're doing it in a rally, I think it might be a lot better. I guarantee it'll be a lot better because the rally you can get up to 500%, and that would be 500% stacked up, and then have say your rally size, or say you're attacking a 7 or 8 million castle or more of troops, then you're gonna do a lot of damage there. So is it something I would go after right away? I mean, obviously the reroute is something as kind of a must-have to start, and then there are a couple other ones. The counter and anti-counter are some that I would say that are really good too, and then there's a casualty and anti-casualty, which are also good as well. So for right now, I would say that this skill is something to look into. If it's only costs 300. I say only. It's one of the base ones of 300 that you can get. So it's something I would look into. The total attack is very nice to have, just on your dragon yourself. So if you're doing some solos, it's nice to have that. And then of course the extra that stacks up during that rally. But if you are a rally leader, it's good to have that in there to get that extra damage, those extra kills. So just like I said, just want to go over this a little bit, and I hope that helped. And till next time, Mac out.